The bar was loud, careless, and alive with laughter, until one name turned it into a graveyard. If you love your country and respect your soldiers, hit that subscribe button right now, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a reminder of what silence can carry and what legends never lose. No one noticed the old man when he first walked in. He didn't announce himself. He didn't look around for attention. He didn't carry the weight of a hero on his shoulders. He carried the weight of someone who had already paid his price. His boots were worn. His denim jacket was faded. His hair was silver, but his eyes were sharp, steady, and heavy with something no one in that bar could name. He took a seat at the end of the counter, ordered a simple beer, and nodded politely to the bartender. That was it. No drama, no noise, just another old man in another loud bar on another forgettable night. But across the room, a group of young Navy SEALs were celebrating a completed training rotation. They were loud, confident, alive with youth and pride. Strong bodies, sharp minds, fresh scars. The kind of men who believed they had seen everything because they hadn't yet learned how much more there was to see. One of them noticed the old man's posture first. Not slouched, not tired, just disciplined. Another noticed his hands. Scarred, steady, and resting like they had spent a lifetime holding something heavier than a glass. Then one of them laughed and said, "That guy looks like he fought in a museum." The others chuckled. One of them, the youngest, stared a little longer. Something in the old man's stillness bothered him. It didn't feel weak. It felt controlled. The SEAL stood up, grabbed his beer, and walked over. He didn't go to insult him. He wanted to test him. And that single decision would rewrite the energy of the entire room. He leaned casually against the counter beside the old man and smiled. "Hey, sir," he said with polite confidence. "What was your call sign back in the day?" The old man didn't answer. He took one slow sip of his beer. The SEAL laughed lightly. "Come on. Everyone had one. Mine's Raptor." The old man placed the glass down. He turned his head slightly, and in a voice calm enough to freeze fire, he said one word. "The Reaper." The music stopped, not because someone touched the system, but because every single SEAL in the room stopped breathing at the same time. The bartender froze with a glass in his hand. A Marine in the background slowly lowered his phone. One SEAL whispered, "No way." Another shook his head like he had just heard a ghost speak. The young SEAL who had asked the question laughed nervously. That's a joke, right?" The old man didn't respond. He didn't need to, because one of the older SEALs in the group stood up slowly, his face pale, his voice almost shaking. "Sir," he said quietly, "where did you serve?" The old man looked forward. Places that don't exist anymore. Silence wrapped around the bar like a tightening rope. The older SEAL stepped closer. "My instructor used to tell us about a Reaper. Said he wasn't a man. Said he was a walking, mission-ending event." The old man finally turned fully. His eyes weren't proud. They weren't angry. They were tired. "Your instructor exaggerated," he said. The younger SEAL swallowed hard. "They said you walked out of a valley alone after losing your entire unit." The old man nodded once. "They said you carried 2 men on your back while bleeding from a bullet wound." Another nod. "They said you finished the mission anyway." The old man lifted his beer. "They said command erase your records because no one believed the numbers." The old man finally looked directly at him. "Command erase my records," he said, "because legends make politicians nervous." No one laughed now. The youngest SEAL felt his chest tighten. Why are you here?" The old man looked around the bar. "Because no one looked for ghosts in loud places." He took another sip. One of the SEALs whispered, "Sir, we grew up hearing about you." The old man shook his head slowly. "You grew up hearing about a story. I grew up burying the people inside it." A man at the back of the bar removed his cap in respect. The bartender quietly placed the old man's next drink on the counter without charging him. The young SEAL felt his pride dissolve into something heavier. "Sir, I didn't mean any disrespect." The old man placed his glass down gently. "You didn't give any. You asked a question. I gave an answer." He paused, then added, "Respect isn't in words. It's in silence." The SEAL nodded, swallowing his emotions. Another SEAL stepped forward. "Sir, what kept you alive?" The old man stared at his reflection in the beer. "Guilt." That word hit harder than any punch. Guilt, he repeated, and a promise I made to men who didn't come home. The bar felt smaller, the neon lights dimmer. The laughter from earlier felt like it belonged to another universe. The old man finally stood up. Every muscle moved with discipline. No wasted motion. No weakness. I didn't come here to be remembered, he said. I came here to forget. He started to walk toward the door, but the youngest seal stepped in front of him, not to block him, but to salute. Perfect form, perfect respect. Every seal followed. The old man stopped. He didn't return the salute. He placed his hand on the young man's shoulder instead. Carry your brothers home, he said quietly. That's the only mission that never ends. Then he walked out. The door closed behind him, and the bar stayed silent long aft. Outside, rain had started falling softly against the pavement. The old man stood under the light of the street lamp, his breath slow, controlled. A voice behind him spoke. Sir, wait. It was the youngest seal. The old man turned. The seal removed his cap. I just wanted to say thank you. For what? For showing me that surviving isn't the same as living. The old man studied him. You'll learn, he said, that heroes don't feel heroic. They feel responsible. The seal nodded. Will I ever become like you? The old man shook his head gently. I hope not. The seal looked confused. I hope you come home smiling, the old man continued. I hope your name never becomes heavy. I hope you never carry silence like a coffin. Rain streaked down his jacket. I became the Reaper, he said, because I survived things no one should. The seal whispered, do you regret it? The old man looked up at the dark sky. I regret the birthdays I missed, the funerals I attended, the voices I still hear. But I don't regret protecting my brothers. He stepped closer. You don't fight to become remembered. You fight so others don't become forgotten. The seal felt tears in his eyes. The old man placed a folded military coin into his hand. Keep that, he said. Not as a trophy, as a reminder. The seal closed his fingers around it. The old man turned and walked into the rain, his silhouette slowly blending into the night. Back inside, the bar slowly came back to life. But no one laughed the same way. No one drank the same way. Because every man in that room now understood something they hadn't before. Legends don't demand attention. They endure it. And years later, that young seal would tell new recruits about the night he met the Reaper. Not to glorify him, but to remind them that strength isn't in noise. It's in the quiet men who walk away. And that sometimes the most dangerous warriors are the ones who no longer need to prove they were. The camera slowly fades. The rain continues. The legend disappears. But the silence he left behind still speaks. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you why service matters, then tell us in the comments. For which part of the country are you watching this video?